Hey there, folks. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic, the hidden bloodline of Jesus Christ. This is a story that's been passed down through generations, and it's one that's sure to capture your imagination. So, let's get started. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. The bloodline of Jesus. Did Mary Magdalene bear the Messiah's child? For centuries, the story of Jesus Christ has been a tapestry woven with divine miracles, spiritual wisdom, and the tragic redemption of mankind. But what if there's a thread hidden beneath the surface? A thread that whispers of a lineage lost to time, and deliberately erased by history's victors. Could it be that Jesus of Nazareth, the man believed to be the Son of God, left behind more than teachings? Could he have left behind blood? A bloodline? And if so, could Mary Magdalene, long painted as a repentant sinner or loyal disciple, have been the vessel that bore the child of the Messiah? This is not a question confined to obscure conspiracy theorists or fringe theologians. It's a question that has haunted the shadows of the Vatican, buried in Gnostic texts, hinted at in medieval legends, and echoed through clandestine whispers of secret societies. Beneath the solemn silence of cathedrals, and within the dusty corners of forbidden manuscripts, this mystery lingers, defying resolution. Mary Magdalene has always been an enigmatic figure. Canonical scripture introduces her as a woman healed of 7 demons, a follower of Jesus, and the first witness to his resurrection. But beyond the Gospel's brief portraits, there lies an undertone of something deeper, a connection more profound than spiritual devotion. Why was she the first to see him risen? Why was her presence constant at pivotal moments of his ministry, even when others fled? And why have some early Christian writings shunned by the mainstream? Church portrayed her not only as a disciple, but as a companion, and perhaps even more. In 1945, in the Egyptian desert near Nag Hammadi, a trove of early Christian texts was unearthed. Manuscripts that had remained hidden for over 1,600 years. Among them was the Gospel of Philip, a Gnostic text that refers to Mary Magdalene as the companion of Jesus. In a passage that has ignited theological firestorms, it describes Jesus as kissing her often, more than the other disciples. While the term companion may be open to interpretation, the implications are provocative. In the language of the time, companion could mean wife. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. The Gnostic Gospel of Mary, another excluded text, depicts Magdalene as a leader among the disciples, so much so that Peter challenges her authority. This friction between Mary and Peter, between feminine spiritual insight and patriarchal structure, may suggest an early struggle over who would shape the Christian narrative. Could the early church have silenced Magdalene's role, perhaps even a maternal role, out of fear that her prominence would eclipse Peter and threaten the newly forming hierarchy? The suppression of such texts may not be coincidental. In the 4th century, when Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity and summoned the Council of Nicaea, a new version of Christian orthodoxy began to take form. Texts that did not conform were deemed heretical and destroyed or buried. Among them, it seems, were documents that elevated Mary Magdalene beyond the role of a repentant sinner. But why such a targeted dismissal of one woman? The idea of Jesus and Mary Magdalene as a married couple is not only spiritually earth-shaking, it is politically explosive. Marriage in Jewish culture at the time was expected, especially for a rabbi. That Jesus would have been unmarried is unusual, even suspect. From a historical standpoint, the Gospels are silent on his marital status, but silence is not denial. And if he were married, who better suited than the woman closest to him? The one who never abandoned him, not even at the foot of the cross. Enter a stream of medieval legends, particularly those emerging from southern France. In the region of Provence, folklore tells of Mary Magdalene arriving by boat after Jesus' crucifixion, accompanied by Lazarus and others. She is said to have lived in a cave, preaching and performing miracles. But some versions of the tale go further. They claim she brought with her the child of Jesus, a daughter, hidden from the world. These legends, long dismissed as fanciful myths, gained new scrutiny when linked with the shadowy order of the Knights Templar and the mysterious group known as the Priory of Sion. Both have been associated with protecting the Holy Grail. But what if the Grail is not a coup but a bloodline? This radical reinterpretation was catapulted into popular consciousness by Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, a fictional novel that borrowed heavily from research laid out in the non-fiction work Holy Blood, Holy Grail, by Bagent Lee and Lincoln. In it, the authors trace a secret lineage from Jesus and Mary Magdalene through the Merovingian kings of France. protected across centuries by clandestine guardians. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. Of course, the Church has roundly denounced these claims as heretical fiction, pointing to the absence of conclusive historical evidence. And indeed, there is no definitive proof, no signed scroll, no ancient birth certificate proclaiming Jesus a father. But what exists is a pattern of omission, a series of unanswered questions, and a strange consistency in the legends that refuse to die. Why? For example, does Mary Magdalene disappear so abruptly from the biblical narrative after the resurrection? Why do we have multiple Marys in the Gospel, some possibly conflated to obscure identities? Why have centuries of Christian art portrayed Mary Magdalene with symbols of fertility, red hair, and even pregnancy, if not to hint at a deeper mystery? And if this bloodline did exist, what became of it? If such a line were traced through Europe, then it would have had to survive in secrecy, protected by those who understood its importance and feared its revelation. The Merovingians' early Frankish kings claimed descent from a divine or semi-divine source. Some even bore names tied to fish symbolism, reminiscent of Christ. If their claim had a kernel of truth, the implications are staggering. It would mean that the holy was embedded not only in heaven, but in the veins of men and women walking among us. Perhaps the most haunting question is, who stands to gain from this bloodline being hidden? And who stands to lose? For the institutional Church, the implications would be catastrophic. A married Jesus, a divine bloodline, a forgotten matriarch. These would unravel centuries of theological structure. The celibate priesthood, the male-dominated ecclesiastical hierarchy. The entire concept of spiritual purity, as separate from flesh, all of it, would come under question. In contrast, the re-emergence of a sacred feminine, embodied in Mary Magdalene, could revolutionize Christianity itself. And yet, for all the secrecy, this mystery is not going away. In recent years, new evidence has continued to surface. In 2012, a papyrus fragment dubbed the Gospel of Jesus' Wife emerged, containing the phrase, "Jesus said to them, my wife." The authenticity of the document has been debated fiercely, and while some scholars dismissed it as a modern forgery, others remain open to its implications. Then there are the archaeological anomalies. Tombs in Jerusalem once believed to be connected to the Jesus family, ossuaries bearing names like Jesus, son of Joseph, Mary, and even Judah, son of Jesus. These findings are controversial and often dismissed by mainstream academia, but they keep the questions alive. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. What if Mary Magdalene was not merely a disciple, but a wife and mother? What if her child bore the dual nature of divine and human, not through spiritual adoption, but through biological inheritance? What if the greatest cover-up in human history is not a secret weapon, a lost city, or a forgotten treasure, but a child? Some believe the answers lie locked away in the Vatican archives, sealed behind centuries of dogma and iron doors. Others think the truth may never be known, or that it lives in the stories passed down quietly, whispered from mother to daughter, guarded by blood. In the end, perhaps the greatest mystery is not whether the bloodline exists but why we are so desperate to deny it. Is it because we fear a mortal Jesus? Or because we fear the divine might have walked among us in ways too human for comfort? Somewhere in the hazy space between myth and history, between gospel and legend, between secrecy and revelation, the truth waits. It waits not in thunderous proclamations or angelic visions, but in the tremble of a forgotten name, the flicker of a symbol, the echo of a woman who loved a man the world called Messiah. She saw him risen. She was the first. And maybe, just maybe, she carried his legacy in her arms. Whether the bloodline of Jesus truly runs through the veins of history, or only through the paginations of seekers and scholars, the question persists. And sometimes, it is the questions we dare not answer that reveal the deepest truths of all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.